Hello there! This Jaguar XJR made a member of my family behave completely out of character. Rather than buy a sensible, practical family car, as he'd done many times before, he bought this supercharged beast, which, at its launch, was the most powerful saloon the manufacturer had produced, ever. This Jaguar XJR then had, shall we say, a few incidents. For example, someone punched it, literally. So, in this video, I'll reveal its specification, tell you a few stories about its life, and show you some interesting pictures. A car that got punched. It's a funny old world. Welcome to CarSpyTV. Right, let's start at the beginning of the story. This is the advert my family member saw in 2003 for the Jaguar XJR. Once he stopped drooling, he noticed it was a 1998 S-Reg, that it was 5 years old, that it had 53,000 miles on the clock and full service history. Good, but what was under the bonnet? The Jaguar XJR had a 4-litre V8 supercharged petrol engine that produced 370 brake horsepower and 525 Nm of torque. This propelled it from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.3 seconds, which was blisteringly fast for the day, particularly for such a big car. The top speed was electronically limited to 155 miles per hour. The Jaguar XJR also had 5-speed automatic transmission from Mercedes-Benz, rear-wheel drive and adaptive suspension. This computer-active technology suspension, which was better known as CATS, automatically got firmer or softer to suit the conditions. For example, if the car was thrown aggressively at high speed into a sharp corner, the suspension got firmer to optimise the handling. In contrast, if the car was driven gently on a straight road, the suspension got softer to optimise the ride. Clever! The Jaguar XJR also had a traditional interior. The seats were leather, as was the dashboard, and it had a wooden steering wheel. I think it looked great. Standard equipment included traction control, air conditioning and cruise control. Oh, and the windows, seat and mirrors either moved electrically or by telekinesis. I just can't remember which. Now, the Jaguar XJR was top of the range, so clearly this specification was decent for the day. It's rather dated now though. It didn't have parking sensors, for example. It didn't have a reversing camera. It didn't have sat-nav. It didn't have a big screen in the centre of the dashboard. These days, such features are common even on relatively cheap cars. It's amazing how quickly things change. Okay, let's have a look at the car's milestone moments. The Jaguar XJR went on a caravan holiday soon after purchase, and maybe it didn't want to leave. Why? Because when it was time to go home, the car wouldn't start. The owner therefore called a breakdown mechanic to the caravan park. He was horrified when he saw the complicated, expensive car he was expected to repair with only basic tools from his van. Fortunately, the problem wasn't serious. The battery was dead. The mechanic therefore jump-started the car, much to the amusement of the people in the other caravans, and the owner limped to a local Jaguar dealership. On arrival, the car broke down again and got stuck in the car park. Anyway, the battery was replaced. A ridiculous amount of money was airlifted from the owner's wallet and he eventually made it home. All was well. Briefly. Weeks later, the car was at the beginning of a long journey. The owner then approached a corner that went left, but the car wanted to go right instead. In fact, it pulled alarmingly to the right and made a horrifying noise. There was another noise too. It was the sound of money pouring down the drain. Anyway, the car limped to a local garage and the mechanic found a seized brake caliper. It was then replaced and the mechanic charged enough money to put his children through university. He also repaired the fuel gauge. Why? Because it never read more than 3/4 full. How strange. Now, the Jaguar's engine worked perfectly throughout the time it was in the family, but the owner was concerned it might develop a catastrophic fault. You see, this type of engine had a known weakness. In summary, the cylinder bores were lined with a material that, on, shall we say, quite a few of the manufacturer's cars, broke down. This fault can cause a lack of compression inside the engine. Such a car might, for example, then struggle to start. It might be down on power, And there might be no easy fix. Some cars have had entirely new engines. This potential cost was always on the owner's mind. Anyway, Jaguar soon got on top of the problem, and the cylinder bores in later cars were lined with a different material. Furthermore, the Jaguar XJR attracted, shall we say, peculiar attention. One day, the owner was at work and someone came in and said there's a group of people standing around your car admiring it. These people were strangers, so who knows if they had unscrupulous intentions. Also, wherever the car went, people commented, asked questions and stared. Things got a bit weird. But don't get me wrong, the Jaguar XJR was a fantastic car and I was very fond of it. It was blisteringly quick and the roar of the supercharger was fantastic. It was also supremely comfortable and magnificent to look at. It made every journey feel like a special occasion. Except the time that brake caliper seized. Oh, and when it wouldn't start. Oh, and never mind. Anyway, let's have a look at some pictures of the car on its travels. Here's the Jaguar parked at an old castle making friends with the Vauxhall Cavalier. Here it is looking out to sea trying to spot sharks. Here it is in London squeezing into a parking bay that wasn't quite wide enough. And here's me wishing it was mine. Anyway, eventually the owner retired, so the car typically sat in the garage. In fact, it hardly moved. On many occasions it had to be taken out just for the sake of keeping it running. Furthermore, the owner was still concerned about a potential engine problem and the car was depreciating heavily. It was losing a lot of value year on year. So, in summary, it was sitting there predominantly unused, plummeting in value. Not ideal. Reluctantly, therefore, the car was entrusted to a garage who sold it on the owner's behalf. The garage then took a percentage of the sale price as a commission. But that's not the end of the story. The Jaguar XJR got vandalised soon after it sold. One day, the new owner was parked outside the school and sitting in the car. A stranger then approached, studied the car and punched it on the bonnet. We don't know why, but it left a big dent. Do you see what I mean about unwanted attention? That must have hurt. And that's it. That's the story of the Jaguar XJR. It was a stunning, magnificent beast of a car, but it went wrong too much and it attracted too much attention. Now, before you go, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content, ask any questions in the comment section, and do me a favour and click like on this video. Right, that's all for now. Hey, are you the guy that punched the car and dented the bonnet? Yeah. Unbelievable.